Hello, I'm Sherry. Today I want to share about the rental income. So, what is the income tax rate that imposed to the rental income in Malaysia? So, for the people that receive this rental income, right, we will see whether they are tax resident in Malaysia or non-tax resident. So how to identify whether they are tax resident or non-tax resident? First, we would like to know whether this person is staying in Malaysia more than 183 days or not. If he stay in Malaysia more than 183 days, then he or she will consider as a tax resident. If considered tax resident, then he or she will need to submit Borang B or Borang BE. For those who stay in Malaysia less than 183 days, then they are considered non-resident. Then they need to submit Borang M. So I understand some of the people say, hey, I'm Malaysian. It's just that I already migrate to other country, like I'm now working in Singapore or I'm working in London, but I have property in Malaysia. Just that I asked my mom, I asked my relative help me to collect the money, and the money still come into my Malaysia bank account. So whether I need to pay income tax or not? Of course you need, because you are considered non-resident, but the money is still going into your Malaysia bank account. That's why you are still entitled to pay the rental income for the income tax. So now you know whether you are tax resident or non-tax resident. What are the expenses that you can be deducted from this rental income? And we have to identify the property that you rent out is first time rent out or is just a renewal basis. When I mention renewal, right, meaning this property might change another tenant. It's not continuous, maybe change another tenant. So this is also considered renewal. It's not the first time rent out. So why I say like that? Because normally when calculate for the net rental income, right, you can deduct few expenses. For example, assessment fee, quick rent, insurance, the fire insurance for the property, and then the expenses incurred on the rent collection, okay, then the expenses incurred for the rent renewal, and then the expenses incurred for the repair and property and maintenance, or the maintenance fee and the sinking fund that you pay for the JMB. Okay, so when I mention expenses incurred on the rent collection, right, meaning let's say the agent commission, when you rent out to other party, you find agent help you to advertise. So this advertising cost, the legal fees on the tenancy, all this is claimable, but is subject to this property is not first time to rent out. If the property is first time to rent out, right, then some of the expenses is not claimable at all. For example, the cost of advertising the property, the legal fees that prepare the rental agreement, the stamp duty, and property agent commission. These four expenses is considered initial expenses. So these initial expenses cannot be deducted from the rental income for first time rent out. So a lot of people making mistakes for this. So please take note for this. So after calculate all your rental income and deduct all the expenses, right, then you get the net incomes. Based on this net income, right, you will be considered chargeable income in your tax submission. This is the income that you need to declare in your income tax. So how much you will entitled to pay? So it will depends. If you are tax resident, which you submit the Borang B or Borang BE, then you will refer back to the schedule, the tax bracket. Let's say more than 50,000 to 70,000 is how much, then more than 70,000 to 100,000 is how much is the income tax rates. You base on the tax resident rate. But if let's say you are non-tax resident, let's say you are just an investor from overseas resident, or you are the Malaysian but you already migrate to somewhere, you are not in Malaysia, So then this is a fixed income tax rate. You need to pay 30% for the income tax rate for all the rental income that you need to submit. So for the tax resident who is always the Malaysian, how you justify yourself to submit borang B or borang BE? How to identify? So normally, if let's say you only have the pure rental income, you don't have other income anymore, so then you need to submit borang BE. Or you are working adult with other company with receiving EA, meaning you are full employment employee but you have property rent out, then you need to submit your borang BE as well. But if let's say you have other source of business income, like sole proprietorship, partnership, and so on, then in this case, you will declare your borang BE. So for all the property, right, it will be classified as commercial property or residential property. So some people might ask, I am rent out my condominium, so I no need declare because it's just a residential, it's not a commercial property. Can I do so? No. If let's say the residential property that you are not going to stay there but you rent out as an investment purpose, you should declare this rental income as part of your income in income tax as well. I hope everyone can learn from what I'm sharing today. Thank you for watching.